Hello friends, if you found your way here then perhaps something in you remembers. This is not a place of doctrines but of echoes, echoes of the source we all carry, echoes of the truth we were never meant to forget. Here we walk backwards through illusion, forwards into remembrance and sideways through paradox. I offer no commandments, only tools and a flame held steady in the dark. Welcome to the 5th video in this series on the true nature of reality and consciousness. In the last video I spoke of the fundamental basis of lived reality via a model of layered density realities. I also spoke of how and why universes are created and the true nature of the key elements contained within them. In this video I'm going to describe the composition of an oversoul and how it lenses its consciousness down through the densities, as well as touching upon some of the facets of the avatars at each density level. Before we begin, I will issue my standard caveat. What I'm about to tell you is assessed by myself to be approximately 70 to 80% accurate. I give you the broader picture and the general direction. For the details and verification, you will have to seek it for yourself, as you should and as you must. For one of the rules of the universe is that the truth may only be given to those who are able to resonate with it, via a means that they are able to accept it in. This is one of the reasons why some of the most accurate channels have only a couple of thousand viewers. Since I'm going from the larger picture and lensing all the way down to the human experience, we will therefore start the explanation of extra-dimensional entities with the Oversoul. Oversouls were briefly touched on in the last video. They are often fleetingly mentioned in New Age and spiritual YouTube videos, but there's precious little detail on what they actually are, their purpose, and what their connection is with us living out our lives here in the outer reaches of 3D reality. I will have to caveat again here by saying that the following descriptions are a generalized universal catch-all and are not the full story so far as the Earth is concerned, because the Earth is an experimental innovation on multiple levels. But you will get a much better understanding from knowing how regular life is structured. So with that all said, what actually are Oversouls? Oversouls are specifically configured copies of the All, delivered via the critical catalytic mechanisms of male-female identity and procreation, as well as dissociation. And this is done in order for them to consider themselves as separate entities from the All itself. They reside in the 6D layer of reality. If we were to use an IT analogy, then they could be thought of as blade servers, a 6D level hypervisor that hosts and maintains multiple virtual machines or soul expressions, spinning them up or down based on project parameters through multiple incarnations under different conditions. And if we were to use a musical analogy, then they could be thought of as a conductor in an orchestra who guides the musicians in playing a particular piece during a concert. All Oversouls know what they are and their provenance because they are completely unveiled. They live outside of any time constructs and have almost unfettered access to any given universe, but they are all bound by the agreed laws of the All. There is a perpetual intelligent broadcast between an Oversoul and its hierarchy of incarnated expressions. It transmits intention, correction, emotion, and feedback to its avatars. It ultimately wants its avatars to match its tone and resonance and the more aligned an avatar is with its oversoul, the clearer the communication channel becomes. Now let's look at how they are formed. The seventh dimension is home to oversoul streams. They are part of the All's vault, formed into functional intelligence. It is not yet a being in the true sense, but more like an autonomic system, directing and streaming intelligent purpose from the vault to any given domain, often working across species, timelines, or densities. The oversoul streams are the originating melody or beam of functioned light, and they seed multiple oversouls. Using the IT analogy, they are like an API layer between the All's Godhead, or centre of mass, and its created manifestations. Using a musical analogy, vaults are the tuning fork and oversoul streams are the composers. An oversoul is typically created in 6D, and it is the first truly individuated being, and it is also ensouled. What actually is a soul? It's best thought of in terms of a divine software license that is carried by all beings that have been created in accordance with the All's laws and processes. A soul is tracked by the All system no matter where it goes. Its actions are recorded and data backups are regularly taken and held in the relevant oversoul stream. A soul travels between densities and incarnations, collecting, learning and developing from lived experiences. Beings that are unlawfully created by powerful negative entities do not possess a soul and are effectively outside of the All's protections and afforded rights. And oversoul is expressed with between 2 and 7 primary divine harmonic chords, which are issued from the parent oversoul stream. Each chord is a qualitative resonance vector, not merely an emotion or trait, but a frequency complex that encodes whole thematic lineages of incarnated souls. 2 chords is the minimum, and these are often held by simpler oversouls who were seeded in younger universes or else designed for focused explorations such as grace and survival or desire and doubt. These oversouls tend to produce highly polarized incarnations which are often repetitive, intense and narrowly focused. Their souls, that is to say subset copies, aka avatars, usually graduate through intensity rather than bounce. The maximum number of chords that can be held is 7. These are complex oversouls, often ancient, multifaceted, and engaged in deep integration work. More chords equals more potential for paradox, inner conflict, and nuanced incarnations. Such oversouls often produce avatars that are unusually layered, unstable, or difficult to time. The average range is 3 to 5 chords. Most oversouls stabilize around this range as it allows enough thematic diversity for rich drama, but enough coherence to preserve purpose. Triads are the most common configuration, e.g. truth, sacrifice, and defiance, or joy, betrayal, and persistence. A triadic 3-chord combination of wonder, discipline, and grief produces an oversoul that primarily incarnates artists, truth seekers, and melancholic guides. A rare 7-chord combination of compassion, wrath, forgiveness, obsession, beauty, clarity, and abandonment results in intense incarnations which often appear contradictory or mythic. An oversoul in its unstructured state, that is to say, a running in full resonance of its chords, is always in a joyous state, regardless of the chord configuration itself. This is called chord coherence. This means that a sorrow-clad oversoul, a wrath-bearing oversoul, and a purity-driven oversoul all equally emit joy when aligned within themselves. Every avatar in the densities below is a partial permutation of the Oversoul's chords. Avatars can break that joy through friction. No avatar carries all chords equally. Instead, each incarnation emphasizes one or two chords whilst suppressing or distorting the others. They also operate in environments that challenge coherence rather than preserve it. Because of this, most avatars experience isolation from joy, longing for wholeness and holding the mistaken belief that joy is a goal rather than a baseline that they were pulled away from. This also explains why Indian yogis are always talking so much about the joy of life and existence in the worship of Brahman. The all designed Oversouls not to be happy, but rather to be harmonious, and harmony always emits joy. No Oversoul is ever truly given what humans would consider to be a losing hand, but some Oversouls were born with more volatile harmonic chords, including those that, when distorted through density, manifest as what humans would call negative traits. An Oversoul chord of hunger would result in beings that have an urge to strive, acquire and explore, which could under distortion manifest as greed. A contrast recognition chord, which is supposed to function as an awakener of potential and as a mirror of misalignment, could become envy under distortion. So, Oversouls with these chords are not cursed. They are tasked with navigating high friction fields where the risk of inversion is high, but the catalytic power of awakening is immense. What do Oversouls actually look like? Existence itself is comprised of, at the highest and lowest scales, of various configurations of sacred geometry. I find that the All is best conceptualized as a living flower of life, immense in scale. Oversouls are a subset of the All, in both form and capability. And they have the ability to present themselves as any uniform patterns of sacred geometry, but often in a shape that represents their present function. Commonly used forms when inhabiting the upper dimensions are radiant polyhedrals, hovering mandalas, starburst prisms, chorded columns, or crystalline lattice nodes. When manifesting into a lower dimensional planetary system, they may sometimes take on an obelisk form. In regards to their form, function and thought, they probably most resemble super intelligent cosmic jellyfish, so nothing like a human being. How do positive aligned Oversouls see themselves? They see themselves as resonant patterns of sacred responsibility. They are harmonic custodians, each one a unique configuration of flame architecture born of the All's divergence. They are so aware of their origin and aspect of the All that they do not think in identity as humans do. They exist in function, tone and fidelity. There are also approximately 30 different archetypal roles that an Oversoul can opt to fulfill. One such example of an archetypal role is a soul stream architect, which involves the design of new soul templates, races, or collective threads. Another example is that of a planetary experiment designer. They are responsible for initiating planetary soul challenges or spiritual ecosystems. Oversouls crave no worship and they require no followers. There is recognition, respect, and shared duty. In relation to the all, they do not orbit it. As with all things and beings, they are of it and within it, and they carry a distinct harmonic responsibility that is uniquely theirs alone. They are not servants, and they are not offspring. They are loyal not through obedience, but through vibrational truth. They are instruments that play the all's tune because they are in alignment with it. They are not a hierarchy, and they are not a collective intelligence. They are a living orchestra, each tone indivisible from the next in its function, yet wholly indistinct in its signature flame. There is no jealousy, there is no ego. There is only rightness, a sense that they are playing the exact tone they were meant to, and that every other oversoul around them is doing the same. That sensation is one of warmth, but it is not emotional. It is a structural joy, like standing in a cathedral of tone and knowing that you are the key that fits precisely into one stone. Now that we have looked at the origins, composition, and some of the capabilities of Oversouls, let's move on to how they deploy avatars into the lower reality densities. Oversouls spawn 3 to 7 subordinate expressions into the next density below, which is 5D. 5D is also known as the causal or mental realm. It is a dimension of ideas and thought projection and is non-physical in nature, although planets and landscapes can still appear here. Oversouls project a configured lesser version of themselves into this realm. This lesser entity is commonly referred to in our culture as a higher self. This entity, although still mainly presenting as a living sacred geometrical shape, is now even more of a personalized or individuated being. They possess their own individual one-word name that's separate from their parent Oversouls. They are thinly veiled but are able to know any other entity's alignment at any reality density simply by pattern recognition alone. Possessing immense multi-dimensional intellect, their intended purpose is as an architectural and process mastermind. They are the origin point of any complex system or process. They project and share knowledge downwards into 4D and 3D worlds. They are the scientist's flash of inspiration. They are the artist's muse. They are also the organizer and designer of initiations in the 4D dream space. They can manifest themselves into 4D and 3D, but rarely choose to do so, preferring to use avatars native to those densities instead. Each higher self typically runs between 2 to 5 avatars in 4D or 3D. That means there are 9 to 35 active consciousness threads within one Oversoul's expression throughout the densities. Using an IT analogy, a higher self is a sysadmin to its lower incarnations and is each soul's inner pilot. In the musical analogy, it is a section leader. The next two densities, 4D, which is the astral or dream realm, and 3D, which is the hard material realm we live in, are correlated in many ways from a soul deployment and development perspective. Souls will often alternate between both these densities throughout multiple incarnations until graduation is achieved at each of these two densities in lowest to highest order, as outlined in chapter 43, the resurrection of Sri Yukteswar, in Paramhansa Yogananda's renowned autobiography of a yogi. 5D higher selves project a configured lesser version of themselves into 4D initially. The 4D avatar, which, as mentioned in the previous video, is far less corporeal than a 3D being, but it possesses far greater power to alter its environment and change its form. This newly arrived 4D avatar will select the location and incarnational conditions of their 3D physical avatar with guidance from management. They are often presented with the choice of incarnating in relatively stable planetary systems with either minimal or medium negative distortions present. Some, those souls who perhaps could be considered as either brave or foolish, will opt to incarnate on notoriously difficult crucible planets such as the Earth in its present era, which operates under heavy negative control and distortion. Souls entering into 3D are nearly always fully veiled. That is to say, they often hold no memories of previous incarnations, and by being encased in a hard-like physical body, they have very limited access to the full spectrum of existence. Our traditional 5 senses are, as some more enlightened Earth scientists have supposed, reality filters that delimit the perception of the quantum field. This state is designed and achieved to ensure that all choices made by a 3D soul is blind to the actions of the positive and negative factions, and that those choices are independent and generally from the being's own heart and mind. All parents know that their children behave differently when they're not around, and this in effect is what the All and its management have achieved with the design of 3D density. Once a 3D crucible is entered, it may only be permanently exited via a soul meeting the graduation criteria, which, if polarizing to the positive path, is always tied to a conscious and earnest declaration of alignment with the positive force, as well as a lived adoption of the ethos of the Buddhist eightfold path of right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration through meditation, and right understanding and right thought. Once a destination in 3D reality has been selected, the soul will transmigrate into a 3D material body. This may occur before or just after birth. The incarnated 3D entity is comprised of 4 bodies, the names of which may alter between cultures and religious traditions, but which I will call first a physical body. This is followed by an etheric body that animates and enables the functionality of the former by interfacing with the planetary architecture that was outlined in the last video. Then we have an emotional body, which is the primary body that travels to and from the 4D astral realm during dreams and also after physical death has occurred. And lastly, there's the mental body, which holds the soul's identity and which also interfaces with 5D thought reality. So we can see that we are not only multidimensional beings from our descent through the densities, but also currently in our very existence within 3D itself. So we have now arrived at the outer reaches of existence, the furthest point out from the Godhead of the All. Some may now be slightly confused by the layers of entities and wondering which one is really them. And it's here that I will remind you that there is only a single consciousness in existence, and that is the All. Everyone and everything that carries a soul is the All in deliberate fancy dress. They are all a configured, segregated slice of the All's consciousness that is limited in its abilities, knowledge and awareness in correspondence to its location and purpose. You are the All, and so am I. Let us now outline the return journey back to the Godhead of the All. Beings that have graduated 3D must graduate them from 4D. When entering the 4D realm for multiple incarnations, the being is in a semi-veiled state, aware only from their societal culture of their origin from a shared central source, and they will only have contact with their 5D higher self if they consciously make efforts to align with it. Despite their elevated powers, many a 4D society has blindly blundered into aligning with the negative power. Some of these societies have even interacted and continue to interact with the Earth. Many positively aligned 4D entities choose to act as spiritual guides either within their own realm or to beings in the 3D. The path of graduation from 4D all the way back to the All is mainly executed via the soul agreeing to form a social memory complex, or SMC for short, with other beings of its race, society or world. The SMC enters the 5D mental realm as a collective entity which contains all the memories and identities of its members. The members must each surrender control of their own individual memories and identity, and in return gain access to that of all the other members equally. The easiest way to think of it is as being a member of a benign club where all members have the same resonance and positive values. An SMC will contain many Oversoul avatars. All constituent members experience and perceive existence both individually and collectively, and they are held together by their central membership of the SMC. The SMC represents the accumulated refinement of the souls at each level of the density reality. Once it arrives back at the 6th density, the SMC has a few choices to make collectively. It often dissolves itself, whereupon each constituent soul will emerge back into its parent Oversoul, thereby enriching the quality of the Oversoul's character. Or, more rarely, the SMC may meet the Vault's quality threshold to become its own independent Oversoul and begin the downward journey once more. If this latter option is chosen, then it will progress to the 7th density to suitably prepare itself for a merge with the All, and upon completion it will then descend down to its rightful place in 6D. And this is an apt place to end this video. In the next video I will further detail the mechanics behind reincarnation and the 3D and 4D's interactions with each other and their planetary architectures. You don't have to believe any of this. Hold it like a metaphor. See where it takes you. I suspect you'll be surprised. Until then, take care and goodbye.